We're going to call the June 20th council meeting in order. Madam Clerk, pledge please.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Councilman Asbill.
Present.
Councilman Buddy.
Present.
Councilman Chatelain.
Present.
Councilman Johnston.
Present.
Councilman Ricks.
Present.
Mayor Baudier.
Present.
Police Chief LaPree is absent. Fire Chief St. Cyr absent. Finance Director Todd Turnion is absent. City Attorney Scott Stansberry. Myself, Carrie Hughes, clerk, is present. Mayor's announcements.
Yeah, it's just real fast. We just wanted to thank Metairie Delta's Lions Club for the annual donation of $500. Sometimes every penny matters when our budget is what it is, so we just want to say thank you very much. And Madam Clerk, do we have something else we want to just say about it? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. And then just a couple of comments, and we are wrapping up with the audit right now. Yeah, we should have, I believe that coming to report on in August, and Titunium asked me to make those comments for me, but that's all I have now.
Mr. Mayor, move to amend the agenda to add new business number 5 and call for a public hearing on August 15th, 2024 at 6 p.m.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to amend the agenda to add to new business. What's that for? One more time, Mr. Councilman?
New business number 5 to call for a public hearing on August 15th, 2024 at 6 p.m. prior to the regularly scheduled council meeting.
The August 24th, was that
15th.
15th?
And you should 2024 at 6 p.m. You should have a paper in front of you. This is, oh, you didn't give everybody one? I'm sorry. This is for the public hearing for the millage renewal before the council.
What?
Millage renewal?
Oh, the
5.
millage renewal.
Yes, sir.
So a motion by Councilman Asbill to add to new business number 5, public hearing August 15th, 6 p.m., 2024. Open the public hearing, no one coming forth. There was a second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Question, what is the millage renewal? What is it? What is he raising the millage up?
What is
So
the
you're
rate?
not raising the millage, just...
Yeah, well,
It's just,
yeah,
it's rolling forward.
it's rolling forward. What is it rolling to?
It's going to stay what it is.
It's staying where it's at? Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Approval of minutes. Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on May 16th, 2024.
We have a motion by Councilman Ricks to dispense with the reading of the minutes on May 16, 2024.
Second.
Anyone want to come speak? Please come to the podium. No one coming forth will close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor to dispense with the reading of the minutes?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Approval of the minutes of the council meeting on May 16th, 2024.
Move to
We
approve.
have a motion by Councilman Buddy to approve those minutes. Anyone wanting to come speak for or against those minutes, please come to the podium. No one coming forth will now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Ricks. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk, those minutes are approved.
Okay, we have no communications, no resolutions, ordinances for approval. Proposed ordinance number 2024-12. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain and seconded by Councilman
Second.
Asbill, an ordinance to sell and/or auction property owned by the municipality of the city of Harahan, providing for the procedure to be utilized pursuant to the provisions of Louisiana Revised Statute 33-4712, which provides for the sale, exchange, or lease of property by a municipality.
Anyone want to speak on proposed ordinance number 2024-12, please come to the podium. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a motion by Councilman Chatelain and a second by Councilman
Just
Asbill.
make a comment. We're selling hard drives. They ought to be wiped clean with a magnet or something. Talk to our IT guys. You'll tell them what's on it. You might have confidential
It
city.
would definitely go to IT to clear before it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And, yeah, we don't spend a lot of money on it, but...
Can I ask a quick
Thank you.
question? Does this take care of all of that property between basically the fire department and the Lions Club?
Yeah.
All that junk?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And if it doesn't go to auction, is there a way to dispose of it
It is.
otherwise?
There is.
Okay.
Whatever goes to auction and doesn't sell, then we get rid of it as a...
That's it. Okay.
Correct. Okay, so all in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays, Madam Clerk.
Proposed ordinance 2024-13. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman
Second.
Chatelain, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1990, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024 for the ARPA Fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana for Soniat Playground Equipment and Installation.
Anyone want to speak on proposed ordinance number 2024-13? Please come to the podium. No one coming forth. We'll close public hearing. Council discussion?
Council, this is for a play set between, and I put a map on your dais, play set between Wilcox Field and Arsenault Field for the younger kids to play on while the parents are watching ball games and stuff like that, centrally located between those two main fields there. I've got a couple of quotes from Han Enterprises. This is the one you have was the best one. It's on state contract, so it doesn't need to be bidded out by 3 different providers. And you'll see that I've asked for $100,000 there. So I'd like to, in addition, the other $20,000 is in addition to this. I'd like to extend the foul line, the foul fences upwards on both fields and put a net over the top to protect from foul balls at the
That's what I
playground.
was going to question. That's a good idea.
They did a
Being so
similar
close.
project over at LaSalle between 2 of the softball fields. They put a tightly woven net over the top of the playground to protect the kids from foul balls going into the area.
Good
It's still
idea.
going to be passed through. You can still pass through the playground area. So I think it's a good project to replace one of the playgrounds that we removed years and years ago on that side of the playground.
So for people who don't realize, where he's talking about putting this where the train was at, the caboose at the playground, that's the location where this would be going.
Nice. Cool.
There's a variety of equipment.
There's a picture.
Yeah,
If
they
you flip that
actually
page over, you'll see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, attached to the quote, there's a mock-up. It's a couple of slides, couple of climbing elements, some other interactive elements underneath.
Thank you.
Are we going to dismantle the existing playground area over on the walking path?
We haven't gotten there yet, but we
Okay.
got, someday, very soon, we will.
Okay.
We'll have to. All right, all in favor on proposed ordinance number 2024-13?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk, ordinance passes.
There are no new ordinances for introduction. Old business number 1, Planning and Zoning Board appointment.
We have no planning and zoning appointments at this time. Madam Clerk, please put on the next agenda.
Okay, new business number 1, Todd Turnion, Finance Director, monthly financials. I guess we'll skip that since he's
He
not.
got tied up, he's not gonna make it tonight.
New business number 2, consider July council meeting date change.
Okay, so it's a conflict that I have on the July 15th meeting date. Wanted to see if you guys wanted to change it. If not, it's fine. I think Councilman Chatelain can handle it. But if you guys would like it.
July
Yeah, July 18th. I'll be out of town. So we can move it to the 25th. If you like, City Clerk Kerry Hughes's, like, it would fit, you the 25th as well? It'd be better to move it further a week?
Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm
Oh, shoot, okay.
putting that thing to August.
So we can either go earlier a week or move it a week if you guys like. If not,
So if we move it a week, the 25th works for me, but if we move it a week early, what does that do? When would that?
yeah, it might hurt us with advertising requirements, or no?
No?
No, we can go a week before or a week after.
Just going off of this agenda here, there's not gonna be much on that agenda.
How
I'm
about-
fine with leaving the date.
How about Wednesday the 17th, just to keep it close, unless we want to do it.
I'm out that week. I'm out the whole week.
Oh, when do you?
Yeah.
You're out From when?
But Councilman Chatelain said we can leave it on that date, and he's fine. The agenda will be incredibly short.
He'll run the meeting.
I'm good with leaving it there. or
Okay,
moving
we'll
to the
leave it there.
25th.
All right, Madam Clerk, new business number 3.
So we're leaving it?
Leave it there.
Clarifying?
Yeah, we're leaving it there. We're leaving it on the 18th.
New business number 3, Civil Service Board reappointment, Dale Velez, Administrative Representative. His term expires at the end of July 29th, and so this is just his reappointment to continue serving on the Civil Service Board.
Did anyone talk to Dale?
Yeah,
Yes.
he has
In
confirmed.
favor of it?
He did.
Yep.
He was a little on the fence, but then he did confirm he wanted to stay.
And there's no term limit on it. He can serve again.
Yep, he can serve again.
Yeah. All right, Madam Clerk, new business number 4.
Move to reappoint.
All right, I'm sorry. Got a motion by Councilman Asbill to reappoint Dale Velez to Civil Service Board. We'll open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll close public hearing with a second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you for your service, Mr. Velez.
New business number 4, the 2024-2025 Official Journal reappointment renewal.
Okay, anyone who will speak on new business number 4, please come to the podium. No one coming to the podium. We'll close that public council discussion.
Kerry, I know last year that we had a rate increase, I don't remember, 10, 12%. How was this compared to?
Yeah,
Not that we have a choice, I don't think.
right. I don't think there was an increase on this one this time
I
around.
mean,
Oh, how generous.
guys, I'm just gonna ask, what's our options?
No, we
We
don't.
don't have any other options.
But I'm just curious.
Church bullets?
Yeah, that's it.
You can hand out flyers to everybody.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
We're gonna
it's the
stay where we
same.
at.
If it's not, it's very close.
Okay.
Okay, we motion
Shut
by
up, shut up, I'm
Councilman
sorry.
Chatelain, second by Councilman Buddy to approve our official journal appointment renewal.
I mean, you know
All
they
in
got
favor?
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yay.
they got that new Harahan magazine goes out. I mean,
5 yeas, 0
Does it-
nays, Madam
does it
Clerk.
hit enough of our
Yeah, we gotta
residents?
check on that. We might have to work on that. All right, Madam Clerk,
It would
Secretary's
have to
report.
come out a certain day before the meeting every month.
Well, they might be interested in that.
Oh, you got a new business number 5, huh?
Yes. New business number 5, call for a public hearing on August 15th, 2024 at 6 p.m. prior to the regularly scheduled public council meeting to consider levying additional or increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting the adjusted millage rates after reassessment and rolling forward to rates not to exceed the prior year's maximum.
Okay, anyone want to speak on new business number 5? No one coming to the podium. We'll now close public hearing.
What was the millage rolled back to? What did he roll it back?
She has the
It
formula.
was like
but it's-
21.07.
It was like a half a mil or
Yeah,
quarter
so
of
it
a mil
would
or
be
something?
21.9.
It was around 4%, as I
Yeah,
recall.
21.07.
4%.
The roll forward's around 4%. The roll back must have been, a little bit
Yeah,
less.
it's about a, in
What?
millet is like a, what was it,
Like
1
a-
point what
The
mil?
dollars.
What was it, how much, a point something what?
It was like a difference of 94,000, I think,
Oh, yeah.
between last year and
Right.
last session. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, I was just curious.
yeah.
All right, so all in favor for the meeting?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk, please set the agenda or the special agenda.
Address the council.
All right, anyone who would like to address the council, please come forward, state your name and address at the podium.
Rhonda Bagby, I'm a Harahan citizen.
That might be.
I have
Can you
three,
speak up, please?
I have three issues I wanted,
Miss Rhonda?
Yes.
I have 3 issues I'd like to address real quick.
Perfect.
I know the first one is a federal issue, but there's a problem with the mail. We've been gone a couple of weeks where we didn't get mail for like 3 days in a row. On a Saturday, we got just a few pieces of junk mail. One Saturday, I went into the post office and mailed my house insurance. I licked this envelope sealed, I taped it up with Scotch tape, and I had a sticker on it. The following Saturday, I get this in my mailbox from the post office, and the zip code on there was 70113. So I'm assuming that is the main post office. So that meant somebody had gone and opened up my mail, and that was my house insurance. So I know in the past, there was issues with that, and Steve Scalise came down here and met with the people. Is there any possible way we could get him to come down here so he can address this again?
We can certainly work on it. We can certainly ask. Yes.
Okay. Second thing I wanted to mention to y'all was with the Ivy Waste Company. When they go and they picking up the trash, if they drop something in the middle of the street, they leave it. They don't even pick it up. So that was another thing I wanted to mention. And the last thing is you have FedEx, UPS, Amazon, delivery trucks, and they just stop in the middle of the streets. And sometimes there's no way to go around them, and they blocking up the streets. Is there some kind of way y'all could come up with like an ordinance to address this so nobody gets in an accident? Thank you.
I just don't know how we would enforce it.
Yeah. Because they're so fast, that's the problem. They come booming in, they're gone.
Yeah, but the delivery trucks, they're there for a while.
Amazon's the worst.
Yes.
okay.
I mean, I
Well-
would say there's probably already ordinances or traffic laws on the books that just need to be enforced. I mean,
Yeah, we're gonna-
impeding the flow of traffic is
Yeah, I
is
would
a-
think
is
there's
a law.
an ordinance out there.
It's gonna be a hard one to enforce.
I'm
Yeah, you
fine.
just
We
gotta
got some work to
enforce
do. Thank you.
That's hard to enforce.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Stephen Perrin. I reside at 7301 Harahan. Some of you may not recognize me. I don't blame you. It's been a year since you last saw me, and we had a discussion about enforcement of city ordinance regarding nuisance feces and animal waste specific to the birds that live across the street. According to the ordinance, this council had jurisdiction at the time, heard the issue, appointed an arbitrator, listened to the issue, made recommendations for enforcement, put it before this council, which then moved it to the mayor's office and the mayor's court for enforcement. The difficulty now is that apparently the mayor doesn't have, or the mayor's office doesn't have the capacity to enforce the code of Harahan. That whatever capacity you have is conflicted out or recused for whatever reason I don't quite understand. In my understanding of confliction or recusal, they must have some vested interest in the outcome, not simply a knowledge of it or a discomfort with it. The bottom line is that I come before you today because I've been trying to work with the mayor's office to secure the resources they need to do their job. That seems to be very difficult for them. But as an entire council made up of the leadership of Harahan, I feel confident that there's enough resources on this panel to find the mayor the capacity he needs to enforce the code. Because if you've got a mayor who can't enforce the code, I understand we have big visions for this town, but if we can't even do the simple things, I'm not sure I've got a lot of confidence of us to do the difficult things. So right now, I would like to ask for your input and feedback to secure what you're going to do to ensure your leadership, executive leadership, has the ability to perform its function of enforcement and adjudication so that you can maintain the code that you were charged with upholding. Can you help me out?
This is the first I'm hearing of the mayor not being able to enforce provision, but I'm happy to look into it and talk to the mayor about it.
I assume this went to the mayor's court and everything was being handled.
We had two.
Yeah.
That's not true because actually we emailed this entire council approximately 3 months ago. And you had 3 different residents and neighbors that were voiced to this complaint reply all to that email, as well as to Molly's email, and nobody responded.
Here's Lean and
So you might want to check with the UPS drivers, the mail service, the congressman, and your email provider. If I sound frustrated, gentlemen, it's because you can just tell me no.
Mr. Stevens, since you interrupted me, I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you.
Sure.
I've gotten your emails,
Thank you.
but this is the first I'm hearing of it, that it's been an issue of enforcement. The email
That
did
was
not...
in the email.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You know, as I mentioned to you before the meeting, I made a call today to an attorney I know, and he wasn't at all interested. I couldn't talk him into it. It's a, one-on, small thing. I was hoping I could get him just to do it as a favor, and I was unsuccessful. So, but, I'm hoping maybe Scott and Jason, y'all know an attorney, or even Eric, if you got an attorney to represent your company that can come do it. Maybe W.J. LeBlanc can do it. I don't know if people want to do that.
I think we've got a city prosecutor, we've got a city magistrate, we've got a code enforcement court, a hearing officer. One of those people should be able to adjudicate this. And we've got a mayor. If nothing else, if none of those can sit in, the mayor can sit in the mayor's court.
I talked to Molly, I don't know, it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, and she says we need 2. We need a prosecutor and we need a judge.
And we have both.
And the 3 people who do it for Harahan have all said they feel conflicted out. I'm not sure that's the word she used, but that's what I recall. And
Steve Pettit was the only
Steve
one that...
Pettit will step up. So we need one other person.
Well, I would point out the option we presented was the magistrate that presided could certainly play a different role in that capacity. He's not comfortable listening to the same opinion, but he can certainly serve as a prosecutor in that capacity. There are problem-solving efforts that should not have taken us a year at this point. And as I'm asking, if you don't want to enforce the code because this is a sensitive issue that they have raised to a public level so that they can abuse the ordinance, then just tell me no, and I understand
I won't
that.
speak for anyone else, but I want to have this heard in mayor's court. That's where it belongs.
I agree.
I've not heard one other person say anything contrary. I won't speak for everybody, but nobody said anything contrary to that.
But with all due respect, we don't seem to have a mayor's court. We just have people that can't do this. So I'm looking to you for something other than we'll try and make some phone calls. I just don't, I followed the process even as it changed, and been very respectful of it. And now I feel like the process is kind of being used to bucket this up. And so I'm going to stop because I think you've heard my frustration. I'd rather be doing things differently on a night like this, as well as every meeting I've come to when some of y'all aren't in attendance. So you can understand that I don't have a lot of confidence that we're going to get past this. And I'd like for you to help change my mind.
Do we know what department, I mean, just the same thing on Colonial, you know, we're getting nowhere fast. I mean, what is,
I mean, every one of those have a unique, have a unique
sorry,
problem.
Tim,
And
speak up.
everyone have a unique problem to it. They all just don't fit under the same umbrella. Everyone has a uniqueness to it. And we've actually had this meeting today, you know, just about the property down on Solvay and Hickory. I've actually been dealing with this guy since I've been elected for 16 and a half years. And they just get to the point to where they just won't do nothing about it. They won't act in favor of the neighborhood. And
Who is
and then
they?
The owner, the property owner. The
no, but I
property-
mean,
But our problem here is that, as I understand it from talking to Molly, and I hope I have it straight, is that our city prosecutors / judges don't want to hear this case because they're too close to it.
Yeah, well, my opinion is, and I know all of them personally, but my opinion is if they're conflicted out on an issue such as this, where there's no interest in it, right?
What's the-
If they're conflicted out on an interest such as this, where there's no interest to it, they don't need to be hired for that job.
I agree with
We
you.
need to find somebody else.
I agree with you.
And I'm okay with that.
and look, I am too, because
trying to find somebody else,
I've been
that's the
trying to deal with,
Try to find other
I've been
people.
trying to deal with several of these other houses and the
Because
same thing.
The only conflict I can think of is if they're a direct neighbor who's impacted, or they're the president of some wildlife association that protects purple martins.
One of them
That's
is,
the only conflicts I can think of.
one
So-
of them is very close, reasonably close.
Yep.
But the other two,
But,
I
but
don't
there's,
think are.
but there's one who already wrote an opinion on it, right?
Yeah, and he said he's conflicted out because he wrote the opinion.
Send it back in front, I mean,
I-
or
I haven't
mayor,
talked to Chris. you
or
know-
mayor, we just enforce the opinion.
Yeah.
I think that's an option too, to just enforce the opinion that the hearing officer recommended.
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it.
So anyway, sir, I think we can get some movement on this, and it's been, I know it's been difficult for y'all living with this going into 2 seasons, or at least 2. So we're
I
gonna
mean,
try
if
to
I
make
was in your
something happen.
situation, I'd have gotten in trouble already.
Yeah. I'd have fed them all Alka-Seltzer, so. Yeah.
You're
We'll
welcome.
look into it, I
We'll
promise.
get together and
Enforce the opinion.
enforce the opinion. But just, and because Mike brings up a great question, and I know that a lot of residents don't understand this, and believe it or not, I don't understand it either. The laws are just so made, and they should be that way, but they're so made in favor of the property owner. To police them, and because it's really, you can police them all day long. They don't care until you start finding them and strapping money to it and making it financial. That's when they truly start to care. And the problem is when you better have, I mean, every I dotted and every T crossed if you're gonna put a fine on somebody. And if you're gonna touch their property, even more, because you're gonna be rebuilding it if you go.
Jefferson Parish, in a heartbeat, will send out a grass cutting crew and put a $500 lien on your property and sell it if you don't pay it with your tax bill.
I mean,
in
we-
a heartbeat. So maybe we need to talk to somebody at the parish and say, why don't y'all have this issue?
We just got these, and we got these thorns, man, they just won't go
I think
away.
it's an enforcement issue. We have the same, at the end of the day, we have the same property maintenance code as the parish. That's what we did when we realized it a couple years ago. We put the same thing in place, including the same hearing officer provisions and environmental court, send everything to the environmental court. It's just not happening for
Mayor,
some
I
reason.
understand in this
I
particular
don't understand it.
instance, and I'm not familiar with the other issues you're talking about, but in this issue, it's just individuals that say for whatever reason, they don't want to hear this case. Like Chris Meeks wrote the opinion, he says he doesn't think he should be involved in it, because that's his opinion letter. But and one of them lives in the neighborhood, and the other gentleman, I'm not sure what his logic is, I'm not going to argue with it, but Councilman Asbill makes a good point.
Yeah, I like it.
When people accept this position, you got to do it even if you might not like it. It's your job.
I think City Attorney Stansberry will tell you something different than that when you conflict it out. I mean, how bad does it get in a position
I
to
don't know
really
if
be
they're
conflicted
legally
out?
conflicted.
Can you be legally conflicted from something?
Sure.
I don't know what their reasons are.
I mean, sure, I mean, as
If you have
attorneys, you
financial
can have,
investment.
as attorneys, you've got conflicts in the code of ethics
Yeah.
and professional conduct. I just don't see that any apply here. Move to reopen the public hearing.
Yeah. And you know, we've traditionally, I believe, hired people for these positions that are Harahan residents. But that is creating this problem. So maybe we need to rethink that in the future, that we make sure we've got at least one person, at least one who's not a Harahan resident, and then a gentleman like Steve Pettit who will step in as needed, who's also not a Harahan resident. So you'd have, if it ever came up again where everybody felt they were conflicted, brother-in-law, next-door neighbor, whatever, we'd have a fallback.
Let's go ahead and find a solution. How many of the three, who's able to work the issue? Mr. Weddle?
No,
none.
Weddle and
Zero.
Lane are out. The only
None of them,
person-
none of them want to?
None of them.
Okay.
None of them.
And so can we add new business number 6 to appoint a special magistrate for this issue of Stephen Pettit?
You can, unless you want to just, I thought we were going to move with the opinion.
We need a prosecutor too, Molly tells me. We need to have,
Right.
we need to have a second person.
Yeah. Perhaps if we appoint the special magistrate to hear the issue of enforcement of the recommendation of the hearing officer, he can monitor recommendation of that. He can monitor the enforcement of the recommendation from the hearing officer, and then if you need a prosecutor in the future, we can figure out who that could be.
Okay? Yeah.
Yep, I'm in.
I mean,
I'm in. I like it.
So,
you won't let them talk.
give me one. You want to go ahead and talk first? Okay. Move to amend agenda to add new business number 6.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to amend agenda to add new business 6 to recommend a special prosecutor for.
Magistrate.
Magistrate for this case. I don't have the case number offhand, but we can reference it later, I guess.
Purple
Yeah,
market.
so I would move to appoint Mr. Attorney Stephen Pettit as a special magistrate for the Purple Martin issue to monitor enforcement of the hearing officer's recommendations.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Ricks, to appoint Steve Pettit as the special magistrate to monitor the Purple Martin opinion. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays. I'm sorry, I did not open for public hearing. Nope, 5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk, please note for the record, and we will contact Steve Pettit. And maybe, maybe we put Steve Pettit on some of these other ones that, because he can be, he can be pretty,
He can be tough.
he can be tough.
We'll see.
We put him on these other ones that we're having, like,
We need
like
tough.
Salve Hickory and the
We need tough.
Colonial.
Well, have they been to mayor's court?
Well, the guy at Salve and Hickory has a warrant out for his arrest. But as long as if he doesn't get a traffic stop, then nothing happens to
But
him.
if-
It's a bench warrant.
So have we fined them? I mean, you may not
No,
have the answer to
no,
this
we have
question.
not, we have not. we've
that
not
is-
set
But I
a
don't
fine.
understand why we haven't fined them. And I don't know who the magistrate was in that situation, but we have the
So
ability to fine.
I met with all 3 magistrates and had this conversation. And I said, we should fine immediately every time that there's a violation.
Right.
It should be done daily or whatever it is. Take pictures, do what we have to do, make sure this happens on a daily basis. There's no reason that any citizen in Harahan should be left sitting next to blight at all.
Agreed.
Or have any of these problems. And I am in total agreement to find a special magistrate, find whatever we need to keep these people in line and make them clean up their place. And so these people, I mean, there's no reason for it.
Councilman Ricks, what kind of response did the three individuals?
It was a very lackluster
Well,
experience.
then we need to get people that
Right.
will enforce our laws. And Harahan, I understand, again, fortunately, I don't have any personal experience with this, has worked with residents to give them an opportunity, a second chance, a third chance to get it done. But at some point in time, maybe around the second or third chance, if they don't get it done, then we need to fine them, we need to lien their property, and if it's not paid on their tax bill, the property needs to go up for tax sale. And until we do that, people are going to blow it off. We've got
That's
apparently, we have a
exactly what's
reputation for unenforceable municipal ordinances.
Like you said,
You know, I mean, and adversely to that, we've had a lot of success in getting things moving, getting houses torn down, getting a lot of blight cleared.
Yep.
But, you know,
But if
I mean,
we've got
it's
a
that,
stumbling
it's the
block,
ones that you
let's-
didn't succeed on is the ones that people always remember.
Yeah, Mayor, and I appreciate that. We have
Yeah.
made progress.
I know
But if
we've
we've got
made
a stumbling
progress.
block here, let's come up with a plan.
Got it.
And work around and fix it.
All right, I'll meet with him first thing tomorrow morning. I'll get him on the phone and we'll talk and say, hey, bro, look, it's time to go.
Move to reopen the public hearing for Mr. Stephen
All right,
Perrin.
we'll open, a motion by Councilman Nasbo, second by Chatelain to reopen for public hearing. Go ahead. All in
Thank you,
favor?
gentlemen.
I'm sorry, all in favor?
Yay.
Okay, 5 yeas, 0 nays. Reopen, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Thank you, gentlemen. Councilman Asbill, I think, proposed a solution I was going to get around to, not in that format, but what I might also suggest is that if we get to a enforcement of the magistrate's opinion, that this council adopt a resolution supporting that magistrate's ruling so that the mayor is empowered by the backing of a unanimous body of this council that says, this is not acceptable. I know this is a difficult public challenge as well as managing the property rights of others. I want to respect that as well. I believe in being tough. I also believe in being fair. And I think this is the fairest way to do it if there's unanimity among what we're trying to do, what I'm requesting from this council to support the mayor. So I would ask for that in consideration if we fail to get a prosecutor and the mayor's got to serve
Can you
as
make sure we get that
the
on next
magistrate.
month's agenda?
Thank you.
and I would like to address something you said earlier about your emails. You know, a lot of times we get emails and we go to the people within the office and the ranks of this city to try and get those things moving. I apologize that I didn't respond, but at the same time, I took that and went to meet with the magistrates and tried to resolve this and see why some of this stuff is not happening. And it is very frustrating. It's very frustrating as a councilman, too, to hear, you know, constantly, like in my own neighborhood, I have one big blighted house that's been there for 30 years, and it seems like, you know, we're cleaning, taking bees out, doing this, doing that. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And, you know, I think it's, like you said, it's very frustrating, so.
I appreciate y'all, but I also appreciate y'all coming to a resolution and getting to a solution, so thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
evening, gentlemen.
Might also propose maybe publishing a list of non-compliant properties and with the property owners, and I don't know, it might get some movement. Does Mr. Ackle still own the property? Is Mr. Ackle still on the property you're talking about?
Absolutely. But they're having
Yeah,
some
he was a
issues.
problem. He was a problem down here on the highway for a long time too, and he's still a problem around Columbus.
According to them, they're having issues with the family and,
Yeah,
you
well.
know, blah, 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 but
Well, that doesn't excuse them.
my point, nothing excuses anybody for, you know,
There's
leaving.
always somebody who has some say over the property.
Right.
All right, Madam Clerk, are we at reports?
Well, first, before we go to that, we talk about let me say that when we merged the mayor's court with the regulatory court, I was against that. I thought we should have kept the regulatory court and separated from the mayor's court, because I'm being told that the mayor's court is not enforcing the regulatories, but they're fining people, they're reporting to people, and the mayor's court isn't enforcing the rules. These people out there were doing their job,
So that's
and the mayor's court's not, they're not finding these people. They're not, just half these people don't show up to court for regulatory. I mean, and they're not doing nothing. And so I just think we made a mistake by bringing it all into the mayor's court. We should have kept the regulatory court and bring Steve Pettit in to be the judge in the regulatory court.
I want to answer
And let
that,
him run
Chris.
the regulatory court. Because Steve's a fair guy, and he's going to stick to the rules, and he's firm, and he's going to follow the law. He's not going to worry about the vote.
I
That's
wanna-
the problem. We've got people worried about votes. We need to enforce the rules. And I know y'all don't want to hear this crap. I'm sorry to say the word crap. But when I was mayor, I had a regulatory court. I created it through Baton Rouge. I had to change the law in Baton Rouge to create a regulatory court. And I got more people mad at me in the city because I had a regulatory court. And I enforced the rules, and people got pissed at me because what I did. I enforced the laws. And I had people standing out there in the lobby waiting to go to regulatory court when I would leave the building at 5:30 in the evening, and I'd tell them good evening, and I know half of them were mad at me because I was enforcing the rules. You can't worry about a vote. We got to move forward and get the city straight and enforce the regulatory and enforce the rules and make people clean up their properties. As simple as that. And we got to do that, and I thought a regulatory court was the way to go, and we need to do it. We need to separate from the mayor's court, and we need to get a regulatory court back in line and get a separate magistrate for the regulatory court, separated from the mayor's court, which handles tickets.
So I'd like to address that. I don't know when regulatory court was first established, but it was reestablished in 2019. And then the ordinance we had amended a few months back, or whenever it was, a year ago, I don't know when it was. It did not actually get rid of regulatory court. There still should be a regulatory court going on, according to the ordinances.
I don't think it has a regulatory court.
Is
I think it
there?
just has the mayor's court.
There should be a regulatory court going on.
Is there a regulatory court taking place?
I mean, I think it's been, I'm not quite sure, I think it's being all done in mayor's court, but I think
Yeah.
they're calling it,
Well,
it's all done in mayor's court.
Who decides that? Who
The council
decides?
has decided, the council has decided through an ordinance. Now, whether the ordinance is actually being executed, I don't fully understand why.
And that was executed in 2019?
The regulatory court was recreated in 2019.
So since 2019?
And then subsequent to that, I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
mean,
Subsequent to that, what we
Subsequent to that,
did,
we
what we did was we kept regulatory court, but we made it a division of mayor's court.
Right.
So that if it wasn't enforceable in the regulatory court, then the mayor's court has the teeth to actually issue warrants and attachments and things like
And
that.
Councilman Askew,
So
didn't
the
we do
regulatory-
that because the magistrate felt he didn't, if a regulatory court felt there was some issue,
Yeah, so
he
the-
didn't have legal
A hearing
authority?
officer for regulatory doesn't generally have attachment and warrant privileges.
Right. There was a reason why it was done.
And so we still should have regulatory court going on, but if you need a warrant or attachment, the hearing officer needs to send it up to the mayor's magistrate to get a warrant or attachment
So
issued.
you should have both courts going on,
You should.
and when they don't follow the rules in regulatory court, and it needs to be pushed through to mayor's court, you should be able to push through to mayor's court, that way they can put out attachments.
You shouldn't involve the mayor's court with a regulatory court. You should have a regulatory
A
court
regulatory,
and a mayor's court.
Put out
You shouldn't have to send anything to mayor's court. Regulatory should handle everything on their own. They should do their own they should handle their own, whatever they have to do. I'm not a lawyer. Whatever they have to do, you shouldn't have to send anything to the mayor's court.
I
Regulatory
understand.
court should handle everything. Because what's happening is that it's going to the mayor's court, and he's not enforcing. Whoever's doing it, they're not enforcing. People don't show up for court. They're not issuing warrants out for them and nothing. They're
Right,
not
so I
enforcing the
can- I
rules.
understand
And
what-
people are just laughing at our court.
I
They're laughing
understand
at our
that.
court.
I understand that by state law, you can, a hearing officer, a regulatory hearing officer cannot issue warrants and subpoenas and, or they can issue subpoenas. They can't issue warrants and attachments.
Okay, can I ask you a question? So the overseer of the regulatory court, can that be a judge? Can we get a regular judge?
Magistrate.
No, it is-
It's
Magistrate?
a
I
hearing
mean,
officer, magistrate, yeah.
Magistrate, yes.
So there's, what is the difference, because I'm not an attorney.
Me neither.
But I mean, what would it take to get somebody in that position or in that role or in that court to give them the legal proceedings to take it, to the next level?
It's, I think it's there. It's just got to be, I mean, we'd have to get the city attorney to look at it more in depth, but it's there. It's
It's
just got to
there.
get the right person.
We changed the law,
to do it.
we changed the law in Baton Rouge.
It's like having one judge that does criminal and civil cases.
Right.
You have a mayor's court who does traffic and regulatory. They are both in mayor's court with more teeth. That's what's
Okay.
going on now.
Okay, so,
So it is better than what it was with just regulatory. Kenner does it, Westwego does it, it's a prosecutor, and it is a judge.
Okay.
The old regulatory didn't have a prosecutor, it just had a hearing officer. So there was no one in there advocating for the city. Now they actually do.
I see.
So it's all one court. It's not regulatory and then they send it to mayor's court. It is one court who deals with all those issues. They set all the regulatory issues on one day, is my understanding.
That's correct.
So,
But the city has the power to have their own regulatory court because we changed the rule in Baton Rouge
well, what he's saying
years
is,
ago. You can have your own regulatory court,
it's still
which
going
going
on.
under the mayor's court.
Yeah.
Because, Councilman, we've heard it 3 times tonight, and I've heard it previously, I don't know what's correct, but regulatory did not have enforcement power.
And
The
then a
regulatory
prosecutor.
court.
I don't know
They
why.
have a prosecutor.
But that's what I'm being
Yeah,
told.
the biggest thing was they didn't have a prosecutor, so you've got,
Check the.
you've
what
got
they passed.
non-legal
We had the law changed
minds
in Baton
presenting the
Rouge
case,
when I was
and
mayor.
perhaps it
They
wasn't
changed the law
always
in Baton Rouge. Would you
a
check
solid
that
case
law
that
and
was
see
presented.
exactly what the regulatory court's
So-
power is that we had changed? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
So it is done right.
But I'll register, we had Tommy and Zelma was the judge for my regulatory court. Tommy and Zelma were
Ultimately,
junior.
it falls under.
He was the judge.
Paul, let me,
And I had Don Gardner as the judge for the traffic court.
Paul,
Would you check for me? Yes, sir.
can I just intervene and just hear what they're saying? So we have a regulatory court that is held on a regular day, right? And then we have the regular traffic court is
Correct.
held on another day. And what everybody in this room is trying to say is that currently, everything falls under the mayor's court together, so they have more teeth to prosecute or whatever it is, attachments and subpoenas and things of that nature. So it sounds like, if every other city's doing it, it seems like we're doing the same thing. It sounds like we're on the right path. We just maybe need to get some teeth, get some people with some teeth to,
Okay.
put this thing
And
through.
that's how, believe it or not, that's how we actually attached the owner of the Solvay property right there. That's how we were able to go in and attach him.
Through mayor's
And I
court.
mean, he gets, through mayor's court. Now, if he gets pulled over for a traffic stop or anything, he's going to jail.
But we need to get, and Mayor, these folks work for you. They need to understand that the expectation is if something's subject to a fine, or the city stepping in and cleaning it and paying for it and putting a lien on that property, the city needs to do that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
the
mean-
teeth, not just,
Again, we
Yeah,
have
I
been
mean,
very
I'm-
successful of that. We just got these few thorns that we're trying to get rid of. And now, I've actually met with code enforcement this week on the Solvay issue, and she's working on getting a judgment to enter his property. Because now it's become a safety hazard, and so he's there, we are working on a judgment to enter this guy's property, not only tow all the cars away, but tear the building down, and he will be fined every dollar of it.
And, I'm just going to say this, you've been doing this for 16 years. That property on Colonial Club Drive has been abandoned since 2005.
And,
19 years.
it isn't about votes. It's about not putting a city in a liable spot that costs us 10 times much on the backside. I know that's hard to hear for everyone, but that's what it's about. I don't have to worry about votes. I'm not running again. But it's about putting a city in a spot, and we work. I know it's hard to understand and hard to even hear, but it took us very hard. It was a lot of work, and it took us a long time to get where we are today, to put us into a spot that can step us back light years. And so that's what and I'm working with kid gloves, we're walking on razor blades here, but it's just about trying to make sure that we move through everything as expediently as we can, but making sure we don't misstep, because misstep costs money.
I understand that, Mayor, and I appreciate your caution. And I want to ask a question, if you feel comfortable answering. These are all legal matters. Councilman Asbill helped us greatly a couple of times. We've got a city attorney. I don't know who's helping you walk this thin line. And my suggestion is
Scott.
you need an attorney
You advised
to
him, right?
critique the plan, help you put the plan together, and to
Advise the mayor.
maybe make a recommendation on how we might fill these positions.
All right.
What does Westwego do? Do they use citizens who live within the city? And if they had similar problems as we're having, things. But the legal issue of how we're doing this, I think Scott's got a good handle on it. Sounds like it. And I think Jason's got a good handle on it. I don't understand the concerns you have about dot the i's and crossing the t's.
Well,
If we get a judgment in the mayor's court, then, and we find somebody, if we find them, then the lien should go to their property. It should appear on a property tax bill. That's how it happens in Jefferson Parish.
I don't know what we're doing about some of these, things, but like where we have to go remove bees, and cost the city several $100s. I don't know who's paying that bill. I don't know if it gets added to the property tax or, while we're, going the distance on this, but my personal feeling is if something's that big of a deal where the neighbors next door are suffering, there's got to be more that we can do.
Yeah, because we're at the point now of going on people's property. That's where we are with this. Same thing with, believe it or not, with the birds in some kind of way as well. We're at the point now where we have to encroach onto someone's property. And now when you go to encroaching, you better
probably
be knowing
need to
you got
have-
it together.
You probably need to have that legal process, the i's dotted and the t's crossed.
And, it's not about, everybody has rights and they have property rights, and I understand that. We don't want to impede on good people's property, but, when people leave a blighted property, it's not fair to the citizens.
I get it, dude. Look,
That's my biggest concern. We're here to protect the citizens, and I think that's the biggest thing, is we are failing the citizens to do what's right to get these things cleaned up.
It sounds like the most important thing, we need to get a strong prosecutor
Absolutely.
in the court.
no.
A strong guy that's going to
I just
enforce
got a
it.
message from a prosecutor, said he's ready to go
We need it.
while we were here.
We
Absolutely.
need it.
Can you name them?
Yeah, Steve Pettit.
While you're on it, Mayor,
He's ready to go.
2200, well,
So-
I'll do it in my report. I'll do it in my report.
So we still need, at that point in time, a prosecutor.
Well, we're going to have him, no, we're going to bring him in to enforce the opinion. We're going to bring him in to enforce Meek's opinion. And as, and I do agree with the bringing it back up in a resolution format and have the council's full support behind it.
You have mine.
I'm game to do whatever works, and Scott, if
And
you
look,
would.
I'm excited, I'm honestly excited that he wants to jump on it.
We
Yeah,
have 5 issues.
yeah, that's right, I had to on less than one hand, and I cannot, it's just
So-
been,
The people, 5 people who won't follow.
yeah, just will not. Just-
So Scott, I'd appreciate it if you'd give the mayor and
I think
even
it's fine.
Stephen Pettit, who's not an expert at this.
No, Stephen Pettit is an expert at this. He has ran Kenner's code enforcement for years. He's very good at this.
Stephen Pettit is.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the expert from the magistrate side. I know he's an attorney, and he's accomplished.
Yeah, I think he can
But
handle
there
it.
may be some tricks on the magistrate side that he may not know. But what I'd like Mayor and you to do to work with Scott and put
Absolutely.
together what a community needs to do. We may already be doing it, but it sounds like the mayor's kind of on pins and needles with some of these issues. I don't know why, but maybe if you could consult with the mayor and let him come to an understanding, maybe a more
Agreed.
comfortable understanding.
Agreed.
Because it's purely legal, Tim. It's not, it's
Oh,
not, I'm
yeah,
not an
no, I
expert
know.
on it, you're not an expert
I
on it.
know it.
But I'm all for
Agreed.
getting a prosecutor in here. And then we
Aye.
need to work on, I'm sorry, magistrate, but we do need to work on people that won't bow out unless they got a really good reason, like I'm related to them, I'm a next-door neighbor, I stood in their wedding. They better have a good reason to not to step up and do the job.
All right, thank you, counsel. All right, Madam Clerk, we on reports?
No, Secretary's report.
Okay.
Secretary's report for May 2024, total revenues, $548,705.34. Reports.
All right, Chief LaPree's not here, Chief St. Cyr's not here, Councilman Asbill?
Happy 4th of July. Thank everybody for all the work they do. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Buddy?
I'll second that on a happy 4th of July. Be safe, have fun. Other than that, I have no report.
Councilman Chatelain?
Guys, I just want to remind everybody, it's hot out there. If you see somebody and they need a little water, just offer them a little ice water or something, help them out. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Johnson?
Oh, first, happy 4th of July, everybody. Mayor, first thing, I want to congratulate you. You have somebody driving the city and for maintenance, and they're picking up debris, and they pick up refrigerators. They ride around the city. They went by a guy's house the other day. He put a refrigerator out. He called me up to have somebody pick it up, and your guy was outside picking it up. So I wanted to tell you that
Thank
you
you.
got the guys riding the city picking stuff up. I do want to mention to you that it's hurricane season. I think it'd be a good idea to have the maintenance people go around the city and clean the drains
We've already
to
started.
catch basins, to
Yep,
start
we
doing
already
that.
started. Yes, sir.
In the 2200 block of Hickory, they got a car dealer down there that he continuously parks those cars in that vacant lot. And I know I know Mount Molly's have cited him, and I rode by there today. It's got like 20-something cars parked on that lot. I know we continuously cite him. That's one of the ones that we need to go find him and bring him to court. And I think again, we're not enforcing it, that we should be doing it. So he needs to be brought in. I mean, he's defiant as mayor. I know Molly's has cited him. I know she has.
Yep.
And Mayor, the most important thing, I'll be getting calls from the seniors. They don't like the pink house. They want to come back to Harahan. Harahan's been a senior center for 40 years. We need to get the senior center back up and running. What is the status on the senior center? When is JCOA coming back? They want their food bank back at Harahan. They don't want to be going to the pink house. They're not happy with the pink house. So do you know when you're going to be meeting with Robichaux and when we're going to be getting the Harahan Senior Center open back up?
I'm meeting with Robichaux on Wednesday of next week. I'll also be meeting with the lady who's been helping me get the senior center back up and running again, probably a week after that because she's out of town at the moment. I think we're shooting for an August 1st date or earlier. That's what we're shooting for.
Push it back another month because you told me July.
We're shooting because, believe it or not, I'll go into that with you off record, but we're pushing. We're pushing with everything we got right now. But Sandy's been really busting butt with me, helping me get everything going. We're trying to get it open before August. We're pushing with everything we got.
Why we pushed it back another month?
I'm trying to get cooperative endeavor agreements in place. So, because when we go in through these doors, in order to not have what we had in the past, which you actually were a part of,
Right.
we want everybody to know where they're at on the same page. And that's what I'm meeting with Mr. Robichaux about next Wednesday. And then from there, we're going to make sure that we solidify Harahan Senior Center Inc., and we're going to make sure everybody's on the same page and everybody's going in the same direction. And that way it creates a gray area. I mean, it takes out gray area.
Right.
And everybody knows their place. And this has been very challenging, as you know.
Right.
And trying to put these cooperative endeavor agreements in place have been no different.
Well, May, you know what we can do? I told you about it. So, I mean, talk it
Yep.
out, Robichaux next
Yes, sir.
week and see what happens. And
You got it.
You know
Listen,
what
I'll
we can do. We
I'll
already-
stay in constant communication with you because I know it's close to your heart.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
We
And I
can-
have been in constant communication with you.
Yeah.
And if I haven't, I'm very sorry. I tried to. But I even tried to get you in this.
So, but we can get it. I'm just telling you that we don't want to play no games with JCOA.
Yes, sir.
We don't want them to play games with us.
A comment on the maintenance department picking up white goods. That's the responsibility of our waste collection company. And I know the city's done that, and maybe it's expedient way to get it done, but our guys could be riding the city, cleaning out
Right.
Storm drain.
drainage, storm drain, and a phone call to IV Waste to pick up the white goods is in their contract.
Right, we have. We've been, the Ivy Waste, I would say, has picked up probably 95+% of them. The only time we really get into a situation where I move it is when I think maybe somebody puts it up today and the garbage truck ain't coming for another 2-3 days later or something like that, and it's a terrible eyesore, which I can't stand, or maybe someone has an opportunity to get hurt. Some kids can play on it, go pull a hot water heat on
Right.
top themselves, and next thing you know, you got a problem. Now, if we do see a situation like that, will run and grab it.
Yeah,
But
I
IB has
understand that.
been very great and very responsible.
Good.
And I'm going to make sure that I get Ms. Bagby's concern addressed
The
too.
reason why I mentioned appliances, because this guy called me, and your guy was riding, but mostly they pick up is small piles of debris, tree. Ivy Waste don't pick up small piles. They come in with their boom truck once a week on Wednesdays and pick up the big piles. They don't pick up the little piles in front of people's houses. the maintenance people go around picking up the
grab
low
it.
piles.
We'll grab it.
That's
Just
what
keep
they
it clean.
mostly do, but I just happened to mention this because the guy called me up that morning, and if it, 2 hours later, the maintenance picked it up.
And you're complimenting the
Yeah.
maintenance department too. 'cause they're
Yep,
being
my maintenance
proactive.
department is incredible.
Yep.
I'm very fortunate to have them. All right, Councilman Ricks, reports?
So I'd just like to remind everybody, it's hurricane season. Rather than wait till last minute, start making sure that everything's strapped down and buckled up, and, check your old fences and, try and make those safe and secure so the flying debris doesn't hit your home or your loved ones. The other thing is, it's also mosquito season, so I would just tell everybody, please make sure you're emptying your pots and your pools and everything else that might hold water for mosquitoes. Happy 4th of July. I'd like to congratulate the mayor and the council on, the funding, again, that we've received from the state this year. There's a lot of great things happening in Harahan due to that. We got some new police cars, we got some new police officers, and I'd really like to, as a final note, like to congratulate my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, the Browns, who are just finishing their home on Colonial Club Drive.
Nice.
And will be new Harahan residents.
Nice, yeah.
So, welcome to Harahan.
Thank you, Councilman Riggs. And as Mr. Paul and I had discussed, the senior center, we're trying to get it open as fast as possible, as well as the gym. We're really working hard to get this gym back open. We know that we've been pushing with all our might, and we know that there's been a lot of questions in the community about getting them open. I just wanted to mention one thing. Uncle Sam Jam will be out at Lafayette Park. I've been working with Councilwoman Rita Bohannon on it, and if you get a chance, come on out. It's a great event. And so happy 4th of July. And if you guys need us for anything, we're always here. And sometimes it may not seem like we're working, but we don't stop. And we'll get there, I promise you. So thank you very much. Madam Clerk.
Pay bills. Bills paid in May 2024. Total expenditures, $868,245.22. No executive session.
We have a
Adjourned.
motion by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Ricks to adjourn. All in favor?
Okay.